Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Kathleen Wells Show. I'm your host, Kathleen Wells. And you know what? The last couple of shows, rather, not days, I discussed, how the Democrats have failed Black America, how Black politicians have failed Black America. But today we're shifting gears. We're shifting gears because why? We're shifting gears because what? Yesterday, I think it was, a few days ago, or yesterday, I don't remember, MOAB, which is, wait, what does that stand for? MOAB, the mother of all bombs, was dropped on eastern Afghanistan. And when I want to find out what's going on in Afghanistan, what do? I go to the Prince of Afghanistan, Prince Abdul Ali Seraj of Afghanistan. I've been interviewing Prince Seraj for many years. In fact, you can find some of those interviews on the Huffington Post. Just Google Prince Abdul Ali Seraj of Afghanistan, or just Prince Ali and Kathleen Wells, and they'll pop up. I've been interviewing him for many years, and I want to know what's going on in Afghanistan. Everyone wants to know. In fact, the whole world knows that this mother of all bombs was dropped on Afghanistan. Everyone knows about this, right? It's a non-nuclear bomb. The acronym for MOAB is Massive Ordnance Air Blast. It weighs in at 20,000 pounds, and it costs $16 million per bomb. $16 million per bomb. That's far beyond bunker busters, which were used commonly during the War on Terror. So what have we been hearing on the news? We've been hearing that General John Nicholson is saying that it was the right time and the right target, and they were targeting ISIS, and they have killed 36 members of ISIS. Well, you know, the political theories, the conspiracy theories start whirling around and saying that maybe there was an ulterior motive for the dropping of this bomb. I don't know. And that's why I want to have Prince Abdul Ali Seraj of Afghanistan as a guest today. He hasn't called in yet. He'll be calling in soon. I'm wondering if you guys can you hear me? You know, let me tell you, I'm doing my show differently with Spreaker.com, and I'm not certain all the time if anyone is listening. No one's in the chat room. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm assuming you can. I'm waiting for Prince Abdul Ali Seraj to call in. I think he's calling in now. Hi, Prince Seraj. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
You know, we've interviewed, I was just telling listeners that you and I have interviewed for years, and many of those interviews can be seen on the Huffington Post. However, we haven't interviewed recently, so it's good to hear your voice. And of course, I had to go to you when I heard about this bomb being dropped in Afghanistan, eastern Afghanistan. So, great. Welcome to the Kathleen Wells Show. This is the new and improved Kathleen Wells Show.
Well, very good. It's very nice to hear your voice again. It's been a long time, Kathy.
Yeah. Well, what can you tell us about this bomb?
This is the mother of all bombs. This is something that was not just delivered to Afghanistan. This was delivered to Afghanistan during the time of the Obama administration, but was never used at that time because at that time we did not have a concentration of ISIS and Daesh in one particular area, and the Taliban was spread all over the country. And it is, as you saw, the power of this bomb. It's very dangerous to use it in a place where where civilian casualties could be enormous. The reason it was used in this particular area was because there was a concentration of the Daesh in the same area that Osama bin Laden used to hide in. And this is in the district of Achin in the province of Nangarhar. It's near the Tora Bora. And the ISIS and Daesh members, in fact, as I was informed this morning, some ISIS members are coming from Pakistan, and they're holding a meeting in this particular area, and it's sort of a valley with mountains all around, and there were no villagers. In fact, the villagers that lived close by, they were warned a day before that some operation was going to take place in that particular area, and they wanted the residents to move away from the area, and they listened and moved away. But the Daesh and ISIS, since they had the control of the tunnels and the caves, they figured whatever operation there was, they would be safe in those holes. As you know, a few days ago, an American Special Forces member was killed by these people crawling out of the holes, and attacking the forces. So for me, it was a very effective way of using the bomb, because a lot of people are complaining and saying, well, this bomb costs millions of dollars and you have to divide it over the 36 or 39 Daesh members that got killed at something $400 some $1,000 per. No, that is not the issue. How much? First of all, there are 2,500 Americans that have lost their lives in Afghanistan at the hands of the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and now they are losing their lives at the hands of the Daesh and ISIS. Secondly, the tunnels and the caves in this particular area was always a hiding place for the terrorists and almost a sanctuary for the terrorists. So the bomb not only killed 3 dozen plus members of the Daesh, but it also destroyed, for all intents and purposes, the habitat, the caves and the tunnels that these people were using. So next time, even if they have not destroyed all the tunnels, but having dropped a bomb there, next time these bloodthirsty killers will think twice about going and finding refuge in these holes.
Okay, Ali, let's step back a little bit, because a lot of listeners are probably not familiar with your experience, who you are exactly. Give them a little background as to who you are, how you've been involved in the politics in Afghanistan, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, as you know, that I belong to the former ruling family of Afghanistan. The last king, King Zahir Shah, was my cousin. But our immediate family, the Seraj family, the last king from our immediate family was the most revered king in Afghanistan's history, by the name of King Amanullah, who gained Afghanistan's independence from the British in 1919, and brought Afghanistan from the 16th and 17th century into the 20th century. Where women were unveiled, where schools were built, girls were sent to Europe for higher education and medicine. In any case, a lot of progress took place in the 1920s. The aeroplane, the factories, train system, palaces, and education, the first constitution, first parliament. All of these happened under the reign of my uncle King Amanullah, and I was educated in the United States. I graduated from the University of Connecticut, and then during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, since I was marked as one of people to be executed by the communist members, I formulated a plan to escape from Afghanistan with the help of a group of hippies. All of the story will appear in my book called The Lost Kingdom, Memoirs of an Afghan Prince. Hopefully it will be published by this fall. And I escaped Afghanistan into Pakistan, and then came to the United States to join the family of my wife and my children, and immediately got involved in Afghanistan's affairs to help Afghanistan. I worked very closely with President Reagan. In fact, I was one of the people who was the force behind getting Russian equipment from Sadat of Egypt into the hands of the freedom fighters in Afghanistan. I also played a very important role in getting the Stinger missiles to the freedom fighters. And then after the defeat of the Red Army in Afghanistan, unfortunately, there's a lot of, Afghanistan was forgotten by the West. And then, as history has it, we entered into a civil war between the different factions, which led to the invasion of Taliban in 1996. And then soon thereafter, the appearance of Osama bin Laden on the scene. And I was very much involved in trying to come up with a program on how to get rid of them. I was in close contact with President Bush after 9/11, and in fact, I submitted a letter of recommendation to President Bush on the 13 points on what should be done in Afghanistan, and I got a very good handwritten response from him within a week. And the Taliban were gone almost 3 weeks after the U.S. entered Afghanistan in 2001. The Taliban disappeared. But unfortunately, instead of getting into economic development, Afghanistan was turned into a militarized zone, and since then we've been fighting. In fact, Afghanistan has been fighting since April 26, 1978. And we have lost tens of thousands of people. But what the United States does not know is that our people, we lost 3 million people fighting the Red Army. And we were one of the major forces in partnership with the United States under the leadership of President Reagan to get rid of get rid of the Cold War and bring the communist regime of the Soviet Union down to its knees. And soon thereafter, the Soviet Union is split up. But unfortunately, we do not get credit for that. The Kuwenta get credit for it. But we lost. We are the ones who sacrificed 1.5 million on the battlefield and another 1.5 million that I refer to as a migratory genocide, as millions of our people are forced to leave Afghanistan as refugees into Pakistan, Iran, and all over the world.
Well,
so
what I wanted to ask you is talk about the significance of the various tribes. I mean, are you still with the National Coalition of?
Absolutely. In 2003, in fact, I went back to Afghanistan in January of 2002 after the United States entered Afghanistan, and I got very much involved in the development of the country. Started building homes for the poor people, supplying school material to thousands of school children, assisting with the veterans, and Afghanistan is a nation of tribes. The tribes of Afghanistan always kept the nation's security and independence. In fact, the three major Anglo-Afghan wars of 1838 to 1842, 1878, and 1919 were all fought under the leadership of my relatives. The first being my great-great-grandfather 9 generations removed, Amir or King Dost Muhammad. The second one in 1878 under King Yaqub, and then the third one under His Majesty King Amanullah. But all the battles that were fought, it was not a national army. It was the tribes. The tribes of Afghanistan have always protected the nation from outside invaders. In fact, Afghanistan, being located in the area it is in Central Asia, has been the gateway between East and West, and also a stomping ground of all the great invaders of the world, starting from Alexander, and then going to Tamerlane, going even before then Genghis Khan, Genghis that came to Afghanistan and destroyed the country from one end to the other, and then of course the British 3 times, and then the Red Army. But none of these invaders could conquer Afghanistan. Afghanistan is, I think, one of 2 nations in the world that was never colonized. So it is because we have always believed in freedom. We have chosen freedom over poverty. Afghanistan is very rich in natural resources, which is all underground, but their country itself has been always kept safe from outside intruders. Unfortunately, the last 15 years, when the West got involved in Afghanistan, they totally disregarded the two major factors of Afghanistan, which makes a country great. Number one, you cannot build a house on imaginary walls. When the West came to Afghanistan, instead of building a foundation on the walls before they put the roof, which the roof being the government, they went directly for the roof, which is the government, and started pouring millions of dollars in trying to build the roof. But this roof was being built on imaginary walls, which is the young generation of Afghanistan, without the foundation, which is the foundation being the tribal people in Afghanistan. So without the foundation and without walls, how can you build a roof? And this is why the policies of the West have been failing in Afghanistan for the past 15 and going on to now 16 years.
Well, talk to me about how was ISIS? How was ISIS created? Why were they created, and why are they in Afghanistan? And you refer to them as Daesh, not ISIS, right?
Yeah. Well, ISIS, first of all, I don't like the word ISIS because Islamic State, that condemns 1.6 billion people in the world. The ISIS is anything but Muslims. Islam does not believe in murder and mayhem and cutting heads and burning people alive. This is not the Islam, but the Islam that the ISIS is following, or better word for them is Daesh are following, is a sect, Islamic sect, which was created in Saudi Arabia in 1763 by a man by the name of Abdul Wahab, Muhammad Abdul Wahab, and this is why they call the religion Wahhabi. Abdul Wahab partnered with Ibn Saud, and together Ibn Saud, who became the first king of Saudi Arabia, and they together agreed to work together as a team. If Ibn Saud could get weapons for Abdul Wahab, and which he went ahead and did. He got the weapons from the British, and thereby the British created the country of Saudi Arabia. That's why it's called Saudi Arabia. It's named after Ibn Saud. The Wahhabis believe in two things. Number one, they have two philosophies. Number one, jihad, and number two, kill anybody that does not convert. And that means that not only non-Muslims. I mean, they have killed more Muslims than non-Muslims. They have destroyed more Islamic nations than non-Islamic nations. So if anybody has any complaint about radical Islam, it is us Muslims, like in Afghanistan, like in Pakistan, like in other parts of the world, where these people have spread like a disease. That originally the group was created in Iraq because when the Saddam regime fell, the Shias, which is the majority in Iraq, created a government, and with the leadership being from the Shia sect, which is the second largest sect of Islam, and the Sunnis were the minority, felt kind of left out, and they started fighting against the government, and that slowly gave birth to this man, Baghdadi, al-Baghdadi. To call yourself al-Baghdadi is nothing more than another Talib member who also was involved in killing Afghans in Afghanistan. He was inside Afghanistan and Pakistan. And so he established the Islamic Caliphate, and then all the wayward children around the world who had nothing else to live for, they started running towards this new terrorist movement, and they started building themselves from Iraq. Then they went into Syria and in Raqqa, where they established their capital. And now that they are being, on the run in the Middle East, they are like a bunch of locusts. When you chase after them, then they fly into another place. But this is a very, just like locusts that go and destroy fields and vegetation, everything. These people are the same like locusts. Now they have spread out. They are in Africa, they are in Pakistan, They are in, they found their inroads in Afghanistan because now they're seeking another place where they can establish their caliphate away from threat of the West.
Okay,
and,
well, let me just clarify here. Let me see if I understand correctly. So you're saying that this radical Islam sect started in Saudi Arabia in the 1700s, and they're called
1763, yes.
And they're Wahhabis. Is this correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this is correct. And then now this new incarnation of them grew in Iraq. Is this correct?
Yes. It started when let's put it this way: they were always there, but because they didn't have a central point or an individual that they can rally around, they were in existence in Saudi Arabia because Saudis are all Wahhabis anyway, and they are in other Middle Eastern countries, but because they did not have a common leader and a common cause, they were spread all over. When Baghdadi appeared on the scene, he took advantage of this and he declared the Caliphate, attacking all of these Wahhabis from different countries into from the Middle East under one flag, which is this black flag that they're flying. And then the people, these young kids from Europe and the United States, who come from families where they themselves are dysfunctional, the family is dysfunctional, they were seeking something wonderful and some adventure, and they were being promised young wives, and they were being promised money, and they were being promised all kinds of lies. So these kids, brainless kids, started running towards this group and joined the fight. Initially, they went there because they were going to get money and they were going to get women. That was their true incentives.
What is their purpose and intent? What is the purpose of this radical Islamic state?
They want the thing is that the Wahhabi the leadership, the Wahhabi leadership wants to spread the religion of Wahhabi throughout as many countries as they possibly can. In the process, the ones that have now joined this movement, a lot of them, they don't even know anything about Islam. They don't even know anything about the Wahhabi religion, even though Wahhabi religion is a radical religion, radical Islam. But they don't even know. They go there to fight for the sake of, for what they're being promised. But the movement actually is to get the religion. The Wahhabis are already in Pakistan. They have converted people there. They have already entered Afghanistan and on the eastern border of Afghanistan and the eastern and northern borders of Afghanistan. They have converted individuals there into the Wahhabi religion. So their thing is conversion. As I said, the philosophy of Abdul Wahab was to convert people into Wahhabi religion, and if they do not convert, to kill them. And this is why in the Middle East, in Syria, with the Yazidis, for instance, they would give them a choice: convert to Wahhabi or be killed. And those who did not convert, they were burnt alive.
So is this about religion, or is this about money and power, or all three? This
got nothing to do with. Let me put it this way. I mean, let's look at it this way. Reverend Jones in Guyana, was he practicing Christian religion? Of course not. And at the end of the day, when he was thirsty for power, and then when the time came when he could not do anything else, he convinced 900 some people to commit suicide by drinking poison. Or Waco, Texas. Was that for a guy following a religion? No. I mean, that again was power. For this particular religion, also it's power and popularity. They do not. You have to understand that this particular religion, they do not believe in any symbols. They do not believe in any churches or mosques. They do not believe in. Shrines. They do not believe in museums. This is why wherever they go, they destroy museums. the statue of Buddha in the Valley of Buddhas in Afghanistan and Bamia were destroyed by them. So these people are animals. They don't, they only think of murder and mayhem and bloodbath. They do not do what human beings do. They do what even animals do not do what they do.
Mm-hmm. So let's get back to the dropping of the mother of all bombs in eastern Afghanistan. Eastern Afghanistan. Many people believe, or I've read articles where they suggest or they indicate that the reason, the motivation for this bomb dropping was not to destroy Daesh. Is that Daesh? Not to destroy ISIS. Daesh. Yeah, but rather to gain an influence, influence with mineral deposits in Afghanistan, to secure, that's the word I'm looking for, to secure the mineral deposits, the rare mineral deposits in eastern Afghanistan. What's your response to that?
Every corner of Afghanistan has minerals. Every corner of Afghanistan has Afghanistan, according to the last report by the United States, the government was there were 12,000 different types of mines in Afghanistan. We have 4 huge gold mines. The central Afghanistan in Helmand Valley, we have uranium. Towards the eastern border towards Pakistan, where the bomb was dropped, we have chromium, mountains of chromium. We have emeralds. We have rubies. We have got oil. The Chinese have signed a contract to mine for. We have the largest copper mine in the world in Afghanistan. We have the largest iron ore mines in Afghanistan that the Indians have signed a contract to mine. We have got oil to the north. We have got gas. We have everything that you can think of. We are money-wise, we are a poor nation, but wealth-wise, natural resource-wise, we have got. So you don't have to go bomb one particular area because you want to. And we have 8 different types of rare metals. You don't have to go bomb an area because you want to take control. All they have to do was to go ahead and nobody will stop. In fact, if I were the leader of Afghanistan, one of my programs for Afghanistan has always been that if I was a candidate for the presidency of Afghanistan in 2009, as you know, and then I backed out because it became a monkey business as opposed to elections. It became a selection thing, so I resigned. But if I were the leader of Afghanistan, I would immediately sign contracts with any Western company that wants to come in to mine in Afghanistan, provided that we keep 20% of the income for the population of Afghanistan as a security, for their future security, and 80% to be divided between the government and the mining company. So we are not, we don't have to come and drop a $15 to $20 million bomb because you want to secure the area. We would welcome the United States. We have always welcomed for God's sake, for the last 15 years. When I worked in the Helmand Valley project, the whole area was built by Americans. The entire agricultural the district was developed by the Americans. Afghans have always had a soft heart for the Americans, and there's a lot of similarity between our two nations. We are the two nations that gained our freedom from the British. We are the two nations that picked up arms against the terrorists. We picked up arms against the Red Army to defeat communism, and we are the two nations that picked up arms against the terrorists in the beginning, before the rest of NATO got involved. Both of us are emotional, and we have always sacrificed hundreds of thousands of our young men and women for freedom, because we love freedom. So this thing about fake news, anything good that's being done or anything positive that's being done, this liberal media, just jump on it, and they sort of weave their own little stories into it. Why don't they talk to me of what's going on in Afghanistan? I'll give them the full details.
Right.
And I also want to. Yeah.
Right. So did you hear that, folks? There are rare minerals all throughout Afghanistan, all throughout, not just where the bomb was dropped. All throughout Afghanistan, there are rare minerals, and an intelligent, thinking president of Afghanistan would willingly sign any contract. You don't have to bomb. They would sign any contract with any company to explore and exploit these minerals as long as the people of Afghanistan secured a percentage. Am I restating it properly?
Yes, it's not only minerals. As I said, there's gas, there's oil, there's gold, there's uranium, chromium. Chromium is used for hardening the metal for the weapons. And the Pakistanis are taking our chromium. They're mountains of it. They send their trucks and they load up the trucks and they take it out into Pakistan. So Afghanistan is extremely, extremely rich in natural resources. So you don't have to come and bomb Afghanistan. All we want, the people want peace, harmony, and the people would bend over backward to work with mining companies. If they could get a job and get a salary so they could feed their families. We are not like the other nations. It's mine, mine, mine. No, we say it's over there. Come help us mine it. We will support you to mine it.
Well, why haven't the Afghan people been able to exploit the minerals themselves? Because it costs a lot of money. I mean, the number where a lot of these minerals are is very mountainous. In order to get it out, you need to build roads. You need to dig tunnels through the mountain. You have to put a railroad system. Afghanistan doesn't have a railroad system. The only railroad that we have now is one that has come from Uzbekistan into the city of Mazar, which is in the north, and the line now has gone towards Tajikistan. So the point is that this is why we have not been able to, even the Chinese who signed the agreement for the copper, they have not as yet taken any copper out of Afghanistan, and the Indians will have to spend billions of dollars to build the roads and the tunnels and the railroad to get the iron ore out of Afghanistan towards India. Okay, so the question is, was it good or bad to drop the bomb, the mother of all bombs? Was it good or bad?
It was very good. Number one, it sent a signal to Daesh, ISIS, and the Taliban. That you have to be very careful. The only thing is that now the ISIS would probably not concentrate in areas by themselves, and they would spread out like plague among the people. But again, even if they spread out among the people, our people who know we know who they are. Okay, this is why what I'm pushing for. The bomb was a good idea because it sent a signal to Pakistan, to Iran, to those other nations that are interfering in Afghanistan, that we have a friend like the United States. But a friend like the United States, who has spent $1 trillion in the last 15 years and have lost over 2,500 soldiers and have nothing to show for it, I think it is time that we have to rethink, the U.S. has to rethink its policies and philosophies, just as President Trump is redoing the policies and philosophies of President Obama, who, in my opinion, his policies for Afghanistan has brought Afghanistan to the point where it is now because of all these mixed signals of, as you know, in my last interview with you, it was in 2009, I think, where we're going to take the troops out now, we're going to take the troops out tomorrow, we're going to take out 1,000, we're going to take out 5,000. By 2013, we're going to pull out 2015, back and forth to the point where the Taliban started saying that the Americans have got the watch, but we have the time. We can wait them out. And that's exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. They waited until the Americans started leaving Afghanistan, and every base that they vacated, the Taliban attacked that area. And this is why today the Taliban and their followers are in fully control or partly control of about 60% of the country. And this was because of so now with the new sheriff in town, we hope that the policy, what we're looking for, me as a member of the royal family of Afghanistan and as a president of the National Coalition for Dialogue with the Tribes of Afghanistan, I do not want to see another single American die for Afghanistan. Throughout our history, we have fought for our own freedom. Give us the opportunity, like we did against the Red Army, give us the opportunity for our warriors, the tribal warriors, not the National Army. The National Army is not ready yet. The National Army has a long way to go. The National Army, but the tribes, especially the border tribes along the Afghan-Pakistan border, they are ready, willing, and able to defend their country against the enemy. Only if the United States would partner with us the way President Reagan did in the 1980s and give us the equipment that we can defend the nation and our people against the enemy. We do not want handouts. Stop making us like beggars, please. We are not beggars. We are a very proud nation. But we were brought down to our knees because of the Red Army invasion, and thereafter the civil war between the different tribes in Afghanistan after the Soviet army was thrown out of Afghanistan. But partner with us, become our partner, and let us do the fighting. President Trump says that he wants to go after the ISIS and Daesh or whatever name you want to give them. They cannot do it alone. This is something that we have to unite as one. There are Muslim nations who will unite with the United States to fight. Nobody wants these animals to come to the area. Afghanistan is a place to start, because right now the only little light that is still left flickering in Central Asia for the United States and the West is Afghanistan.
Well,
Iran has got. Let me just make this point. Iran is gone. Turkey is not in the same category anymore. Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan is not there. Pakistan is not there. So of the middle of Central Asia, Afghanistan is the only one. And if this little light turns off, United States will not have any foothold in Central Asia, and that would be very dangerous.
So you said other Muslim nations are willing to partner with the United States to get rid of Daesh, ISIS. What other nations? What other countries?
Well, look, and in the Middle East, you have Egypt, you have Jordan, you have got some of the other Islamic nations. In our part, you have got Pakistan, who would definitely support a positive movement on the part of the United States. But you have to start somewhere. The place to start is in Afghanistan, and but you're already in Syria and Iraq. But these people that are being chased out of Syria and Iraq, they're all coming towards Afghanistan through Pakistan. So we have to stop them in Afghanistan. And if we take a firm stand against them in Afghanistan, believe me, they will be destroyed. But we have to show them this dropping of the mother bomb was a very good example. It was a wake-up call. But we cannot keep on dropping this kind of bomb on populated areas, because the collateral damage will be tremendous. But we don't have to drop any more bombs. I've created a new slogan. They call this bomb MOAB, a mother of all bombs. My movement, I'm calling it MOAT, M-O-A-T. That's a mixture of all tribes. Our tribes are ready to fight against this terrorist group, but we need a green light from the United States. I'm sitting here in Washington, and I keep banging on doors for somebody to sit down and listen to what's happening inside Afghanistan. I'm in contact with my people every single day. I was aware of what was going to happen in the area in Afghanistan before the bomb was dropped, because the people were being told to vacate, and we knew something was going to happen. I got calls earlier.
Oh, the people were told to vacate the area?
Yes. The people were told to vacate because there was an operation that was going to take place, but they didn't tell them what kind of an operation. And they dropped leaflets by helicopter, and they also talked to the people. And so, but they were not near the place. There was nobody, because the Daesh have chased people out of the area already. They've taken over people's homes and killed some and drove the others out. So fortunately, most of the people are already out, but some who were close by, they were informed to move away, and they did. And this is why you have no civilian casualties.
So if you were able to give a message directly to President Trump, what would it be?
My message is, Mr. President, I have used your tweet a lot of times, but I've never received a response from you. We have a family that is the most powerful in Afghanistan. We have a great deal of support. People will listen to us. The tribes will listen to us. We do not want to be kings. We do not want to be president. But as a family, we have the power to unite the tribes of Afghanistan to be able to make a stand against the very people that you're trying to destroy in the Middle East. We want to do the destruction in our country, but with the strength of our own people, because we know where these people are. If they are in a village, we can distinguish between them and the real villagers, and we can get rid of them. If you will partner with us and support the tribes, forget about the government. The governments come and governments go. People are the one who stay. I mean, so far in Afghanistan, we've had nothing but selected governments. I mean, we said the last two elections under Karzai and Ghani, both of them were not elected. They were selected and put on the throne of Afghanistan. So let the people, for a change, do what they know best to defend their nation, but they cannot do it with slingshots. You know, they need to. I would like somebody from the President Trump's office. I would have loved to have talked to General McMaster before he went to Afghanistan, because McMaster will go to Afghanistan. Who will he talk to? He's going to talk to the Minister of Defense, who's corrupt. He's going to talk to the President of Afghanistan, who's corrupt. He's going to talk to the Minister of Finance, who's corrupt. I mean, everybody within the palace of Afghanistan, they're either former communists or corrupt. And right now, the Russians are making inroads inside Afghanistan, and so are the Chinese, and the other side, Iranians are supporting the Taliban. So we're getting more and more in deep trouble. Help us to help ourselves to defend, not only defend Afghanistan, but to save the legacy of the United States, and at least show the taxpayer that their money has not gone to waste, and the lives that were lost in the United States and Afghanistan were not wasted.
So also talk to me about the geopolitical implications of the dropping of the mother of all bombs, its implications on North Korea, the bigger picture. How will that be perceived? Go ahead.
North Korea is under the influence of China. North Korea cannot breathe unless China gives it the oxygen. Right now, whatever President Trump did with the president of China must have been quite forceful, because it was very positive. You know, already, as you know, China turned back two shiploads of coal from North Korea. North Korea needs oil from China, and if China does not give it the oil, then North Korea will have a lot of problems. And North Korea's technology, the money that North Korea gets, North Korea has nothing to export anywhere. And nobody buys from them except China. So China has the power to pressure North Korea. This kid who's over there barking, he's very dangerous. I mean, he's killed his own brother. He has killed his own uncle. He's killed a lot of his generals. And but if China puts pressure on the generals that are surrounding this kid, he will not be able to push the buttons. The buttons are being pushed not by him, by people who fear him. But you take that fear off of him, then he cannot do anything. But the dropping of the bomb was a signal to a lot of nations in the world that the United States is back online, and they will not take any kind of garbage from anybody. United States is a great nation. It's a free nation, but keeping freedom costs lives, costs money, and costs unity. What I see happening in this country today, it really distresses me when I see the liberal media or young kids who are going against the Constitution of the United States, where freedom of speech, which is the most precious of all the things that the Constitution gives to the people of the United States, is the freedom of speech, and that's being stifled now. When a conservative cannot go to a university to talk and he's cut down, then what's the difference between those people preventing a speaker? What's the difference between them and the totalitarian? Because in the totalitarian states, they would not let you speak freely. I mean, nobody can speak freely in North Korea. Nobody can make a move without that punk sitting over there without his permission. So is that what they want for the United States? That people should not be able to talk? People should not be able to move? People should not be able to listen? You can't do that.
Yeah. You know, the new and improved Kathleen Wells show is against the liberals, definitely. We're against this. We have seen the light. We have come full circle. We have gotten out of the matrix, because when I first started my show, I used to be pro-liberal and all that crap, right? Well, it's crap. I'm convinced. So, so you think that I remember we did an interview where you said the weakening of President Karzai. This interview is in Huffington Post. The weakening of President Karzai spells disaster for Afghanistan. Listeners, you can Google that interview.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I also told you that these terrorists and these leftists, so to speak, they have a sword in their hand. When they feel flesh, they push it in. When they feel steel, they pull back. Fortunately now, steel is in power in the United States, and the terrorists are going to be terrified of this. In fact, when the election was going on and people were asking me, what do you think? I said, what I think, I do not think only about for the United States, I think internationally. And internationally, those people that are creating all these problems all over the world, they are feeling flesh, and so they're pushing the sword in. The world needs a strong leader in the United States, which people will fear. Because so long as Saddam Hussein was ruling Egypt and Muammar Gaddafi was ruling Libya, there were no suicide bombers, there was no ISIS, there was no Daesh, there wasn't any of those ones. When they were removed, the Pandora's box was open. Look what happened to Iraq and Libya. As much as I detest what Bashar al-Assad is doing in Syria, if Bashar al-Assad is removed from Syria, nobody knows who's going to take his place. And it could be, that is probably what the Daesh is dying for, Assad to be removed so they can turn all of Syria into a pseudo-Islamic caliphate. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful on where we are placing our blame and where we are placing our criticism.
Oh, right,
this is not the time.
Right. I mean, Trump supporters didn't vote for Trump to invade another country or to effectuate regime change. That was out of the question. A lot of us were, not me, but a lot of Trump supporters were really beside themselves by the idea, this notion that Trump would go in and intervene in Syria for regime change. This is,
right.
And they feel that he's being influenced by the neocons that are in, like his son-in-law, Kushner, I think.
Listen, you have to, but the point is that in a situation, it is not what you know, it's who you know. And you have to deal with people that you can trust, people who think the same way as you do, and who will stand by you and work with you. Just the fact that that's his son-in-law doesn't make any difference. Because apparently, from what I hear, he's an intelligent young man, and he's not out there looking for money. He's quite wealthy, and he's a good advisor to his father-in-law. And the same token, his daughter Ivanka. I feel sometimes I really I really do not understand. On one side, the liberal movement is talking about freedom of women and improvement of women, and here is a woman, a young lady, who is very successful on her own, and intelligent, has been running companies, has got the respect of the people that work for her, and is leading a company which got more women in it than men, and they're all getting equal salary. Instead of praising that woman, they're trying to tear her apart. I mean, this in my opinion, and it confuses me.
No,
what are they standing?
Listen, the liberals are so phony. It's fake outrage. They're phony. You have to agree with. Listen. Black America has experienced this phoniness for 60 years. They've destroyed Black America. This is what I talk about now. You know, I didn't initially when I was doing my show at KCAA or when I was writing my articles at Huffington Post, but I've come full circle, 180-degree turn. They have destroyed, the liberals have destroyed Black America. They've destroyed everything good. It's over. It's over, you know.
Well, I mean, my recommendation, I will not be so, to say advice. I will not give advice, but my recommendation is that from the mouth of one whose father lived through several revolutions, myself having lived through a communist revolution, having lost my country, having lost my cultural background, my history, it's in danger. My advice and my recommendation to my friends in the United States is, please, for God's sake, you have elected the president. You have not selected the president under the Constitution of the United States. He's going to be there for at least the next 4 years. Wouldn't it be better for you to unite as one and fight the real threat that is facing the United States, which is a radical people from the radical Daesh from the Middle East or a crazy man in North Korea? Wouldn't it be better to unite as one and to support your government and your people for the future security? You can always tackle this at the next election, which is one is coming in 2 years, and the next one will be in 4 years. Tackle it then. Get your people around you and get a good candidate that you can support and vote him into office. But in the meantime, do not destroy yourself going in that direction. Shooting yourself in the foot is not going to get you to the top of the mountain. You won't even, you're not even in the bottom of the mountain as yet by doing that. You have to get to the top, and you cannot get to the top by throwing rocks in your own path and destroying what the fathers of this nation built over the past centuries. So that's my recommendation. People criticize me. I get all kinds of, but fortunately, I don't get that many negative remarks on my tweets. But after this interview, I probably will. But I don't care. I don't care.
You've been tweeting. Tell people your tweet address. Is that how you say it? Your tweet address.
Yeah, my tweet address is at Ali Seraj 1.
At Ali Seraj 1. The Seraj is spelled Ali, A-L-I, Seraj, S-E-R-A-J 1. That's where you can tweet. Yeah. Okay. So that is the whole story. Can U.S. policy in Afghanistan after 15, 16 years be a success story? Yes, but they have to. They cannot. They cannot go with the same old. People are tired of the same faces that's been coming back, and they remove this person and then bring another person from who was before, and then they remove that person, bring another person. No, they want new faces. They want a partnership with the United States. They do not want, the U.S. government officials going to Afghanistan who are going to be meeting with the same government officials that have destroyed Afghanistan. They're going to come back and then file a report and say, bring back the lies that they hear in Afghanistan. And then they come back here and they say, oh, my God, everything in Afghanistan is so good. Look, the girls are learning how to skateboard, and women with veils are skiing down the hills in Bamiyan. That is not progress. They forget to tell you that over 1,000 schools have been closed by the Taliban around the country. They forget to tell you that every day people are being kidnapped in the city of Kabul for ransom. They forget to tell you that every government position is for sale, including military outposts in the villages and in the provinces. Everything is for sale. This is not progress. This is destruction. Corruption in Afghanistan. I think at one time we were one above Somalia. Now we are probably same as Somalia, and if not below Somalia. So the people, the government, this NUG government, which was created by Mr. Kerry,
which is a disaster for Afghanistan. My great-grandfather, when he became the king in 1880, he united Afghanistan under one king and one flag, and he mingled all the tribes of Afghanistan in such a way that so that no one tribe could take control of a particular province. But today, this the group that has come in now, Ghani, has destroyed that. He's broken the tribes. He's broken the people along tribal lines, and that's creating a lot of problems. People are not looking at themselves, no longer looking at themselves as Afghans. They're looking at themselves based on what tribe they come from. So these are the things that if U.S. wants to succeed in Afghanistan, they have to talk to people. If they don't like me, don't talk to me. But there are hundreds of people like me that they'll be more than happy to talk to the U.S. government. Please listen. Yes, listen to us. I've been trying to get somebody to get me to Fox News, so at least I can relay the story of Afghanistan as it should be relayed. I want to tell the truth as it should be told, not this bunch of pipe dreams that's being pushed, by our government in Afghanistan and by others here.
Now, how many tribes are in Afghanistan? Hundreds, right?
In Afghanistan, you see the largest tribe of the Pashtuns, which is almost over 50%. But even the Pashtuns are divided into two, the Duranis and the Ghilzais. The Duranis are smaller, the Ghilzais are bigger. But even among the Pashtun tribes, there are a lot of sub-tribes. But I'm talking about the majors. About the major tribes, you have got the Pashtuns, you have got the Uzbeks, you have got the Tajiks, and you've got the Hazaras. These are four major tribes in Afghanistan. But then there are a lot of minor tribes. You got the Turkmens, and you got the Pashais, and you got a lot of other smaller tribes. But the four major ones are these four, and they make the.
But how do all these tribes come in? I mean, this may sound like a silly question, but how do all these tribes come into existence? What is distinguishing the tribes from each other?
Afghanistan was a monarchy, and Afghanistan, under my great-grandfather, was united. When it was united as one, they were all Afghan people have always respected. They've never rallied around a policy. They've always rallied around a strong man, a strong leader. Afghanistan, and the reason for them a king was acceptable to all tribes across the board was because to them king represented. He was a shadow of Allah on earth. Every morning when people did their morning prayers, after they finished their prayers, they pray for the king and his longevity and his family and so on and so forth. When the king was taken out and the central government was broken, then the people, especially after the Soviet invasion, the people broke back along the tribal lines, and each tribe went behind around its own strongman. But even the strongmen or the warlords started abusing their own people, stealing from them, taking money from them, punishing them, torturing them. So now the people are they're looking back to us, our family, because we do not belong to any particular tribe. We represent Afghanistan. We represent every single tribe in Afghanistan. Therefore, it's easy for them to come to us, but we cannot help them unless the United States is willing to help them. And if the United States is the one that wants to help them, then they should talk to people like me, that together we can sit down with the tribal elders and let them take the defense line. I'm not saying kick out the National Unity Government. No. The National Unity Government must listen to the Americans, and they must listen to the tribes, and together we can work to safeguard Afghanistan against these animals. But we cannot do it. The tribes, the present government of Afghanistan hardly has 10% support among the people.
Say that again. I'm sorry. Repeat that.
The present government of Afghanistan, the National Unity Government, hardly has 10% of the support of the people of Afghanistan.
How did they get in office? They were selected?
Mr. Kerry came in, and the election was disrupted, and the votes were given to Ghani, and he created this double-headed monster where with a president and a CEO, chief executive officer, two different individuals who have been fighting against each other from beginning. You know, you saw the television program Odd Couple?
What was it called?
Remember there was a television program called Odd Couple?
Oh, Odd Couple, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is the oddest couple, you know, to be leaders of a country like Afghanistan, a tribal nation like Afghanistan.
Are they both are they from the same tribe?
No. They're from different tribes. But the point is that we are in dire straits. You know, we are now right now drowning, and we are looking for somebody to come and save us. And if that somebody does not, you know, by just the General Nicholson in Afghanistan came to the U.S. and went to Congress, and he requested more American troops to Afghanistan. My thing is, why more troops? If you could not control Afghanistan with 120,000 American troops and 30 or 40,000 NATO troops and $1 trillion over 15 years, do you think that you can control Afghanistan or bring peace to Afghanistan with 10 or 15,000 soldiers? Of course not. You're just going to sacrifice your young men and young women for what? For nothing. At the end of the day, you will not get anything. Nothing. Unless you want to throw these mother of all bombs all over Afghanistan to kill every single Afghan, including the Daesh and the ISIS, you're not going to succeed unless the people support you. And the people are not supporting you because you are not talking to the people. If you talk to the people, if you talk to the tribes, you know, in 2006, when General Richard was in charge of NATO forces in Afghanistan, and he asked me to put together a meeting of the tribal elders from the south, from Kandahar and from Helmand, that he wanted to talk to them directly, I brought 180 representatives of the tribes from the south, and they met in my house, and the entire NATO officers, General Richard, General Van Loon, General Thomas of the British forces in Helmand, the Canadian generals, they all came to my house. It's all, I've got photographs of that function. And they talked to each other, and they face-to-face. And the tribal elders relayed their grievances to General Richard and the other generals, and the generals relayed the NATO's grievances. Together, they reached an agreement, and they walked out happy. Unfortunately, after General Richard was replaced by other generals, this whole agreement was thrown out of the window. Why should the tribes play any part in the future of Afghanistan? We want to train a national army. Fine, the national army is great for Afghanistan, but the national army has got to be paid. Afghanistan doesn't have the budget to pay the national army. Right now, the American taxpayer is supporting the Afghan National Army. If tomorrow the American taxpayer stops paying the National Army, you're not going to have a National Army. You're going to have the same situation as you have in Iraq. You're going to have all the National Army turning into terrorists. So please listen to people like me. You know, we together we can resolve the issue in an amicable way. But if you don't want to do it and you want to follow the same policy that's been followed the last 15 or 16 years, it's going to be a waste of money, waste of lives. At the end of the day, no success.
Well, yeah, you know, things have devolved since they weren't good when you and I started interviewing initially so many years ago, and now they've gotten worse. Would you say that's right?
Exactly. I mean, when you and I talked at that time when Karzai was in charge, we could travel around the country. I'm not saying that Karzai is a top guy, but he was new to the job. We had not deteriorated to this point. There was no Daesh on the scene. The Taliban were active, but not as active as they are today. The government was in control, 100% in control of the country, because American forces and NATO forces were spread all over Afghanistan, and the Taliban were all, squeezed in different little pockets. But now the Pandora's out of the box. There is a right way of approaching this and a wrong way. I'm telling whoever will listen to me, the present policy and the present approach to Afghanistan, based on sending more soldiers, is a total mistake. It's not going to help.
And so basically, you said John Kerry came in and set up this.
Exactly. John Kerry came and decided who was going to be president, who was going to be CEO. Actually, Abdullah had more votes than Ashraf Ghani. And my cousin, who was also running for president, Dr. Zalmay Rasool, Abdullah was 46%, Zalmay Rasool was 26%, Ashraf Ghani was in the teens.
And yet he won.
But yet, the United Nations and the European Union had already done the investigation, and they knew that over 1 million votes were stolen and put into Ghani's side. But before they were stopped from announcing it until Kerry talked to Abdullah and Ghani, and he just made a decision that one is going to be CEO, the other one is going to be president for a period of 2 years, and after 2 years they're going to have another Loy Jirga, which is a meeting of the tribes, and then they were going to create a position for a prime minister and a president, and then have a parliamentary system in Afghanistan. That has never happened. That was supposed to happen over a year ago. It did not happen. We are still in the same boat, in the same situation. I mean, this is, I feel like I'm drowning and I'm trying to reach, up and get some air, and I can't get it.
Oh, that's a frustrating feeling. So,
It is.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Talk to me. We talked about North Korea. What about Russia? What is Russia? How do you perceive Russia in all of this?
Listen, Russia has got, right now, Russia is also looking for its own security and survival. Russia is very concerned about Daesh going through Uzbekistan to Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and finally into Chechnya, and then going into Russia. So they want to prevent the Daesh from gaining access to the Stans up north. So right now they are talking to the Taliban because the Taliban are also they say, but I don't know how true it is, that they are fighting ISIS. Whether they are or not, I never trust these people. So Russia is flexing its muscle because if you remember in my interview, I told you, you feel flesh, you push in, you feel steel, you pull back. Russia is, still looking to become, a major power in the region and taking advantage of the situation. But you cannot confront Putin, by insulting him or by slapping him on the face. At this time that, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. It is time that we use honey with countries like Russia, like China, and so that we could gain their support to fight a common enemy, which is the terrorists. One of the greatest solutions that I have is a regional basis. If the West would agree, if the major countries, the powers to be agree to create a Central Asian common market, which includes the six common border Islamic nations of Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran, to open up the borders, extend the railroads from the surrounding countries into Afghanistan, make Afghanistan into a free trade zone, and then extend that railroad all the way to the port of Gwadar in Pakistan. This will create a lot of jobs, thousands of jobs that will boost the economy of the six nations and make it a 6x6, where the six Central Asian nations are supported by six major nations of the United States, Russia, China, France, Germany, and England, and with India on the side, as a referee. This is the way that you can do this, but this is not something you can do overnight. This is a long-range program for the Central Asian Common Market. But right now,
that sounds economically proactive.
Well, this is a win-win situation for everybody. China's dream of the Silk Route will become a reality. India wants to do business through Pakistan to the Far East. That becomes a reality because now Pakistan doesn't have to fear India and India doesn't have to fear Pakistan. Iran, I think Iran's nuclear program will become a non-issue because now that Iran becomes part of a common market, they have to abide by the rules of the common market, and then the common market would have a joint security among themselves. The Russia and the Russians and the maybe I'm just pipe dreaming, but I see this situation creating friendship between China, Russia, and the United States, because now there's a common area where nobody has to fear anybody of area of influence, and it will get rid of the terrorists, because the terrorists will not have another country to run to. All the countries that they can run to will now be united as one, so there will be no place for them to hide. They will disappear. I mean, it's a win-win situation for all. All the natural resources of Afghanistan and the surrounding nations can be exported via train, to points east, west, north, to south. The three landlocked nations of Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan will now have a waterway going to the port of Gwadar. This is all things that I plan. I wrote in my manifesto, and I submitted a copy of this, in fact, to the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, Congressional Foreign Relations Committee, Congressman Ed Royce. Mm-hmm. And I've also submitted this to others, and this was also published in Al Jazeera, English. Mm-hmm. But in any case, there are solutions if we want solutions.
Yeah, well, if we can get you on Fox News, I know President Trump watches Fox News. Maybe we can get some of these ideas in his ear, in his head. Maybe
also, if I could get to Dr. Gotka, for instance, or if I could get to General Mattis, any one of these people who have got President Trump's ear, that I can sit down, and I've got documents from the tribes, their vision for their future. I've got photographs, I've got documents, and for me, as you know, all they got to do is look me up online. There are hundreds of pages written on me and my activities, what I've done. So I'm not somebody that's come out of the woodwork and say, hey, here I am, listen to me. They can look me up and read what I have written on my blog, for God's sake.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to ask you some questions from my Facebook page. Are you up for it?
Yes.
You're up for it. Okay, let me read a few. Ask him what he thinks of U.S. intentions in the region. This is a question by Brian Christopher Ashcroft. What do you think about, we kind of went over that, and specifically the backing of Taliban and Mujahideen all these years?
I don't understand. What do you mean?
I don't know. Brian, your question could have been a little more. Okay, let's go to his second part. He wants to know, how do you feel about Pakistan? Ask him his
the people must understand that Afghanistan is not at war with any nation. We are not at war with Pakistan. We are not at war with Iran. We are not at war with the United States or Russia or India or anybody. It is Afghanistan where, that is right now Afghanistan's soil is being used as a battleground between others. It's being used as a battleground between the West and the terrorists. It's being used as a battleground between India and Pakistan. It's being used as a battleground between ISIS and between Daesh and the Taliban and the Al Qaeda. Afghanistan is not at war. We have always looked for a friendly relationship with Pakistan. Pakistan is our neighbor. We share a common history. All the trade to Afghanistan was done through Pakistan, coming from Karachi. But this creation of Taliban and Osama bin Laden destroyed this relationship between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And today there's a great deal of mistrust on the Pakistan side for Afghanistan. Pakistan always says that their concern is that India will use Afghanistan as another front against Pakistan. We will never allow. We have never, through our history, have allowed foreigners to use our soil as a jumping ground to attack one of our neighbors. Never. We will never allow that. So they have to keep it this. So Pakistan has to resolve its own problem. I met with the new Pakistani ambassador to Washington, and I even during the forum, I said that let us forget about the governments and let us forget about the military. Let's talk people to people. I said your largest community in Pakistan is Punjabis. The largest community in Afghanistan are the Pashtuns, and we have other tribes. Let's get the leaders of the two sides together. Let them sit around the table and talk about the future, what kind of future they want for themselves. Let's keep the governments out. And he thought that was a great idea. Everybody thinks I give great ideas, but nobody falls through on it. So I hope that answers the question.
Right, that answers the question. Okay, another question from Cheryl Bouton is, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right, Cheryl, is why does ISIS/Daesh hate America so much?
They do not hate America. You know, they are totally not prejudiced. They hate everybody equally.
Does that answer it? They hate everyone equally.
Yes. So it's not just America. Listen, they have killed tens of thousands of our people. For what? We are Muslims. They're killing us. They go into our mosques and they blow themselves up and killing other Muslims. And they yell, Allahu Akbar. You know what Allahu Akbar means? Allahu Akbar means Allah is great, or God is great. Every time they walk inside the mosque where they're Muslims praying, before blowing themselves up, they yell Allahu Akbar and kill 50 or 60 Muslims inside the mosque. They, in essence, are making Allah a partner in the murder of other human beings. This is not Islamic. Allah is not a murderer. So they have to understand that they have to understand, my American friends, that these people that yell Allahu Akbar and kill Muslims, as they do I'm not even going to say the Christians, because I know that they have killed some Christians, but compared to the Christians, they have killed 100 times more Muslims in the Middle East and in Afghanistan and in Pakistan.
Okay, I have another question for you, and it's really, I don't understand it. Maybe you'll understand it. It's from Amir Bobby Balim. I think I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. And he says to ask you about Vimanas. Vimanas. I don't know what that is. Do you?
Vimana?
Vimanas. I don't know what that is. What is
Vimana means something that is not important.
Okay. Well, look. I'm not surprised. But anyway, Prince Ali, I just started this new show. And I'm just getting used to the system and everything. But I want to get it set where I can have people call in when I have guests and so on and so forth. And I think that may be me doing live streaming on YouTube, whatever. But I'll have you back again as a guest when I do that, right? Where people can actually call in and ask you questions. I think that's fun. It's dynamic. It's interacting that way. I like that.
I have no problem. You see, the thing is this, that my main thrust is to help my people live a peaceful life. And any way I can. If I did not care for my people, I don't have to talk to you or anybody or any media. I would go to an island somewhere, and just lie down and get the sun and forget about it all. I've been at this for almost 40 years. Every single day of my life since 1978.
Since 1978?
Since 1978. So the person who says Beimana means useless or doesn't make a difference. That person either doesn't know, I don't know where he's from. If he's an Afghan, then he's not a true Afghan. And if he's a Pakistani, from Pakistan, Beimana is actually a dirty word, from Afghanistan. So he's probably an Afghan.
What is it? Wait. It is a what word? What does it mean? He's on my Facebook page.
Beimana is something that doesn't make sense.
It's something that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he means. He says, ask him about that. I don't know.
Beimana, that's what he means. The word Beimana means useless.
Oh. Well, you know what? I think he's Muslim, and he's from, I don't know where he's from, maybe, I think he is from Pakistan. I don't remember. But anyway, and his other question about the Pathan. I don't get his questions, to be honest with you.
About what?
The Pathas. Pathans. I don't know what.
Pathans. Yeah, Pathans, those are the Pashtuns that in Afghanistan, the actual name, in Dari or in Pashto, they're called Pathans. That's a tribe.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, these are sort of like esoteric, they're kind of, I don't understand where he's getting at. But I'm glad to have spoken with you, Prince Ali. This is wonderful. My radio show is always open to you, and we can...
Thank you very much. And let's hope that a lot of people respond to what we have talked about today. And if you have any further questions, you can always call me.
Yeah, well, the thing of it is, I encourage people, like I said, this is my new show, new and improved. And so it's a new system. I don't have that, it's growing. And I'd encourage listeners to tweet this interview when it downloads, tweet it, share it on your page, your Facebook pages, share it on your social media pages, because we want to get this interview to the ears of President Trump, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Good night.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, we were just listening to an interview with Prince Abdul Ali Seraj of Afghanistan. I think we covered a lot. I think we've covered quite a bit, actually. As I mentioned before, you can download some of my written interviews with Prince Abdul Ali Seraj. The last name is spelled Seraj. You can download some of those interviews on the Huffington Post. Just Google his name and Google my name, and you can see details about his family background and his ideas and what he's involved in politically. He ran for the president of Afghanistan. He and I have been interviewing for years. And now Afghanistan is devolving. And he thinks that President Trump is headed in the right direction by dropping the mother of all bombs into eastern Afghanistan. So that was our interview. I encourage you to tweet this interview, share it on your Facebook pages, share it in your social media. And, I know we already have a good show lined up next week. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but it's going to be a really good show. Thanks for listening. This is the Kathleen Wells Show, and I appreciate my listeners. I really do. Thank you.